Hi, I'm Jessica Keith from Sungrow Horticulture, and I'm out in my garden. It is just the day before the first day of spring, and I'm getting my vegetable pots ready, my spring vegetable pots. So what are the best vegetables to grow in spring vegetable pots? Well, this guy's already planted up. Here I have some really nice butter lettuce called Bambi. It creates nice small rosettes. These are really tall pots that seem to keep the rabbits away, so I don't have to worry about anything foraging on these, and I don't have deer problems. What else do I grow? This pot over here actually has some lettuce that's self-sowed from last year, which I was surprised about. But I'm also going to fill that with peas. Other good vegetables for spring pots include beets, and I've got golden and red beets that I'm going to plant together. I also have radishes and some nice carrots, and these are all great vegetables for spring vegetable pots. And by mid-spring, late spring, I'll have those ready to harvest, and then once summer is drawing near, I'll refill these pots with summer vegetables and maybe even some flowers. So let me show you how I plant these up. So first, this is an empty pot that I have. I fill these pots to about, not the brim, I fill them to about a 3-inch, I leave about 3 inches at the top. Then I fill them with black gold, natural and organic, potting mix, which is OMRI listed for organic gardening, so I know it's really good for my vegetables. So I fill that up, and this guy, I fill it up and I leave about 2 inches towards the top of space to leave for watering, and kind of make sure that gets packed down, because you always anticipate that this is going to sink a little bit. And this guy I'm going to plant up with peas, and also I have some really nice pak choi that I'm going to plant in these, and I'll do a real quick planting of these using my favorite homey, my planting knife. And pak choi is such a wonderful spring vegetable. I took my gloves off. I hate planting with gloves on. I am by far the worst when it comes to that. These are a small variety, so you need to plant them maybe 4 to 5 inches apart. And they grow so quickly in spring, and they thrive in the spring weather, and they get nice and fat. These have really loose roots, so I don't have to dig too far. I may not even need my homey to dig a nice hole for these. Let me just make spaces here, and I'll get probably about 5 of these in the pot. Maybe I won't plant the peas in this one. I'll plant the peas here. I have another pot about this size that I'm going to fill with my beets. And as always with beets, you need to space them about a good 3 to 4 inches apart. I'll probably harvest them as baby beets. So I'm getting all my pak choi in. I have one extra that I'll stick in another pot. But these guys are pretty small now, but you anticipate probably, I anticipate that they'll grow to about 8 to 10 inches tall and get nice and fat. I'll keep these watered, make sure that the pots never get dry, and also I'm going to feed all of these with a fertilizer formulated for vegetables. Let me show you a close-up of my seed planting technique. So this is a pot that I had these little lettuce actually seed in from last year. So I let one of my lettuce plants bolt. That means I let it flower and go to seed, and it produced these little seedlings, so I have extra lettuce. I also just happen to have, I'm leaving these 2 little seedlings because those are viola or pansy seedlings that also somehow popped up from last year. But I've put a cage in here, and I'm also going to line this with something to help my sweet peas climb up. So these are sugar snap peas, and these are sugar snap peas. I'm planting these just a couple of inches down. I'm going to plant them a couple of inches apart, in a circle. They're a great plant for containers. I love sugar snap peas in containers. This looks like a dense planting, but the peas will climb straight up this this cage. And like I said, I'm going to help these along, help them climb up and fill in. I'll keep these watered, and I will, this one little pot will produce loads and loads of sweet peas. And after this video, I'll follow up with some photos to show people what that's like. So I'll get these will become nice little rosettes of lettuce that I can eventually harvest. And then I'll have peas that will climb up this cage, which is actually quite a tall tomato cage. So I'm ready to plant my beets, and one of the things I didn't mention before is I always label everything. So I labeled my snap peas over here. I always label everything, and I make sure that I add the date on the back, so I know exactly when I planted them and when I can expect them to come up. So here I have some wonderful golden beet seeds, and with my planting knife, my homie, I created a couple of little, you know, lines, and what I'm going to do is just sprinkle those seeds in. And eventually what I'll do is, these are going to probably be a little too close together, and those plants that are less vigorous and too close together, I'll thin out. That's always really important to do with beet seeds. So I just planted my goldens, and now I'm lightly covering them with just a little bit of soil. Then I'm going to keep these moist until they germinate. And the weather's been perfect for these types of seeds to start. It's been, you know, very cool. We've had some warm days. It's been lightly moist, so I expect to have quite a few beets from just this little container. And once the beets are done, I'm going to plant a tomato in this big container. It is just the right size for planting a tomato in, so I'm going to fit it with a tomato cage and plant one of my smaller determinate or bush tomatoes. So I've planted up my vegetables, I've watered them in, and just these 4 pots, which I'm going to space around my garden, will provide me with a lot of fresh vegetables, provide my family with a lot of fresh vegetables this spring. So you don't need a large garden to grow these types of veggies. You just need several really nice sized pots, a couple of bags of black gold natural and organic potting mix, a little bit of vegetable fertilizer, which I've added to the soil, and give them good water, and that's all you need. So happy spring vegetable gardening.